Hi all, Venny here. Welcome to Undermining. Today we'll be covering some of the basics of undermining. A lot of this is pretty new for any of you new power play people, but undermining is basically one of the main ways to oppose other factions that are trying to gain territory close to you. Today we'll actually be covering something not Arissa Levine Duval related, because we are in Amuzgo, which is actually a Felicia Winters expansion creating incursion onto Aisling Duval's territory. And Aisling Duval being one of our allies, we're going to come and try and help out. And boy, do they need a bit of help from the rest of the Empire. So all you Empire folks, let's get out there, kick some Fed butt. That being said, undermining basically represents opposing a direct effort by one of your opposing factions to take over territory. This is basically an expansion for that opposing faction, and it represents the result of a successful preparation by the opposing faction into your territory. Some of them can be weaponized, some of them might not be weaponized. The weaponized expansions end up causing combat zones to form where you can actually go in just like in any other combat zone and oppose factions by aligning yourself with one of the military factions fighting in that combat zone and then fighting off the faction that's trying to expand. Hudson is a big fan of those. In this case, Amuzgo is a non-military expansion in that in order to expand here, what has to happen is that Felicia Winters needs to transport a certain amount of tons of goods into the territory and deposit them here. And your job is to basically interfere with that. You can interfere with that in primarily one way, which is to interdict any hostile faction or any neutral faction for that matter who is participating in this system and blowing them up, which is lots of fun. In that sense, you primarily will be focusing on federal aid, but that is not a requirement. You can focus on some of the other factions that you're not aligned to, namely anything but some of our great allies within the Empire. So if you need a reminder as to who those are, you can go ahead and check that in Galactic Power. So pretty much what you're looking for is anyone aligned with Aisling Duval, Samina Torval, of course, Arissa, or Denton Petraeus. You do not want to kill anyone aligned to those big powers, but you do want to kill anyone aligned to any of the other powers. And they will give you merit. So it doesn't necessarily have to be Felicia Winters' troops that you're going to take on, but any of the other powers as well in this case. The only people you probably don't want to take on are some of the NPC faction people, and they will be aligned to any of the factions listed in the system. I have tried to kill some of the NPCs aligned with Amuzgo Gold Netcoms Incorporated. They do not get you merits. So anyone aligned with these minor factions aren't going to give you merits, so you want to only go after those aligned with the major powers within the bubble. So within that context, most of those are actually not going to have actual player names. They're not going to be NPCs with that sound like people. In fact, they're going to have very predictable names, such as Federal Agent, Federal Logistics, Fed Aid, Security Supply, Alliance Enforcer, Kumo Crew Watch, Unlicensed Trade Ship, or Serious Security. All of these tend to be aligned with another major power that you can actually get merits for. So those are going to be the targets we're going to look at. We're going to start checking around the system for those, and I'll show you a few tips on how to most effectively look for those in system. I'll try and keep this run through short because I know I can tend to talk too much, so we'll keep it short and sweet. In terms of the ship you want to bring a ship that's definitely equipped for interdiction. You will generally be doing condoned piracy. So what you want is a ship loaded with something to take down shields. You can see here I've got a nice large gimbaled beam on my Federal assault ship. Yes, I'm using the Federal ships. Sorry guys, it's just way too effective. But you're free to fly whatever you want. Clippers work excellent in this. Imperial Couriers work excellent. Diamondback Scouts work pretty well. Smaller ships as well can do this just fine as long as you pick your target. But given that you have a weapon to take down shields, that's a primary concern. You want to pair that with weapons that can take down hull. Here I've got 3 plasmas for a bit of overkill, just because I like overkill. But I also find that, especially with the fast, doing a dual beam laser with dual multi-cannons in the mediums works just as well. With 2.1 coming out, I probably do 1 beam laser with 2 medium multis and a large multi, depending on how that turns out. Here I'm fitting in a shield tank. I am strictly fitted for PvE. I will try and do some open maybe later, but pretty much any open I do, if I'm alone and if I'm not fitted for PvP, I tend to do as if I jumped on a wing of 5 and I run. So got a chaff launcher there just for some extra defenses. My shields aren't very good on the fast, so I'm kind of relying on a bit of hull tank. Got my military grade composite. That's optional for a lot of people. Mostly A fitted. You want to have a large life support potentially if your canopy blows. I've got a B here just for some power management that I ran into earlier. A shift frame drive. Definitely, no matter what combat ship you use, get an A class frame shift drive. The reason being, you probably don't have much of a jump range, and most of these places are going to be a little far away from you. Some A sensors also help get your range both in Super Cruise and out of Super Cruise nice and large. Little shield gen, and I've got an extra size fuel scoop. I'm sacrificing one of my larger internals for a fuel scoop. Again, you're traveling a great distance. Best to make sure you can get there quickly. That's probably going to be your biggest time cost if you're doing this repeatedly, because to hand in merits, you do need to get back to one of your control systems to hand it in. So you may be going back and forth between your own system bubble and this expansion. You will need a frameshift drive interdictor. I've got the A4. I've got anecdotal evidence that the class and the rating really do help. I like it. It makes me feel that I'm doing it a lot faster, but I have not broken down those numbers that well. We'll talk a bit about range and all that later. A little bit of hull reinforcement and a advanced discovery scanner, a standard docking computer, just because I like to scan things en route and I hate docking manually if I can help it. So that's the general fit. In terms of where we are, again, Amuzgo is one of those systems that is always under contention. Here we go with the actual power play view. We can see Felicia Winters, and this is her expansion here in Amuzgo. You can see that we're actually pretty close, but we gotta do some definitely do some work. And she is actually trying to incur closer to Ashling. This is one of those systems that's frequently contested, but you can see how far away it is from a lot of our stuff. Actually, it's pretty close to ALD. I actually thought it was more for Ashling's expansion. Looks like we're doing good work for our own power. But it can be a journey, especially if you're one of the other powers. You can see that's not a near trip at all. So that being said, that's why we're here. We're here to fight it, and fight it hard. So that being said, you got your ship, you get all the way out here, you're ready to go. You can see right now I'm in a private group just for the sake of this demo. I tend to like open. Some people are scared of open. Again, I don't sit there in PvP in open. I tend to run away, but the benefit is that you're as likely to find allies as you are to find opponents in open. So as long as you've got enough rebuy, it is actually worth it to go out there and mingle, because you'll find a wing is much more effective for your power when undermining, because every kill you get, if you're sharing it, every person that hits that kill gets those 30 merits per kill that we get when we're undermining in this fashion. So without further ado, let's go ahead and launch. I'm going to stick with my typical transport pip alignment, full engines, half sys. Yeah, I'm going to be reckless because I tend to be reckless. And we're not going to hang around and do a nice stable undock. One other thing we can note within Amuzgo right now is we have the benefit that it's actually an anarchy government here. The benefit of that anarchy government is that almost every single action you do in super cruise or in interdictions is actually lawless. So you will not get a wanted bounty for most of this. In most undermining efforts, you will in fact get wanted bounties. So if you go ahead into a system map for Amuzgo, you can see here our government is Anarchy. So that means every target's pretty much going to be lawless. But let's get into Super Cruise and take a look at what's out there. Now, I'm going to assume some of you have actually interdicted before. No, interdiction is still kind of a mysterious science. You'll find that I'm a fan of 4 pips to sys, 2 pips to engine, and hitting the blue sweet spot in terms of your engine and for trying to optimize your interdiction. Most of that is anecdotal. I have seen, as I reduce sys, I start losing an interdiction. That's the only reason I do it. It's pretty thin, but that's what I do, and I'm sticking to it. But that's for another video if we want to experiment with that. So we're out here in Super Cruise. I'm going to hit the brakes and cover some basics. Most people, what they do is they go ahead and sit there around the sun, and we're going to go ahead and go into that primary star. And they sit around here because, you know, it's a nav beacon. Everyone spawns around a nav beacon, right? Not quite. In fact, the system spawn actually starts going around every major point of interest. I don't mean the signal sources. I do mean things like planetary bases. I mean full-on stations. I mean conflict zones. And you can see here we've got some bases that are a ways away. So if you want to optimize the number of systems you can see or a number of spawns you can see, what you want to do is actually to try and make sure you're within 1,000 light years of as many of these as you can. I do know I can't have Amuzgo 5 and Amuzgo 3 within spawning distance, but I could probably get within 1,000 of Amuzgo 3 and the primary star. So that's the first step, is as we approach Amuzgo 3, you can see we already have spawns, but with all the nearby systems, you can go into a system map, you can see that pretty close to the star, you've got a couple planetary bases, you've got a station, you got a lot of action really close. And that's well and good, and we're probably getting some undermining targets spawning on us already, but I just want to show you that as we approach Amuzgo 3, that as we get within that 1,000 light second range, we're going to start getting spawns because our sensors can start picking them up. It's not necessarily that those spawns never happened yet, it's that we're just in range to sense them. And you'll find this a lot when you're traveling throughout the galaxy, that you'll come in on a system and get closer to it, and the spawns will actually already be there. So in this case we're at 900. I'm going to slow it down. Looks like we don't have too many spawns here, so chances are the procedural spawn will probably start giving us some targets, but 800 is good. There's our first one, right? Didn't even have to guess. We have one orca. Oh, it's a wedding barge. Lovely. So we know there's probably at least 2 sidewinders with it, or at least escorts. We see that their names are NPC names, and we don't care. No, that's not even a escort. That's just another wanted fella. And we have some others. Again, you can see that here we have a wanted, but then we also have a lawless. And the lawless is, again, we're in an anarchy system, so it's pretty cutthroat and anything goes. But this way, what you can do is you can get spawns on one side of you, and then you can, of course, do a 180 and catch spawns on the other side of you. And we already have a Fed aid. I'm not going to engage yet if I can help it. Looks like we might be getting approached by some interested parties behind us. These guys in the Fer de Lance, they seem to have made a V-line for us. You can see that on the radar by how quickly they moved past us. They're Fed agents. They're probably going to take you down. You can see they're a wing of 2. You can kind of see that because they're traveling together. The other one's a Cobra 3, no biggie. At least not in a fast. So this could be a pretty intimidating at first. They're trying to get around to your tail. And this is an easy way to actually grab on undermining target. We see that's a Fed agent. We know Fed anything is pretty much free game. We see that's also winners, so we know this is an easy 30 merits if we kill this Fair Lance. But his buddy's going to drop in too, so that's 60 right there, and that's beautiful. And we don't even need to actually try to interdict. You can see if I try, I'm getting, it's telling me get behind the target. I'm really not going to be able to because the NPCs have a way better Super Cruise turning radius, quite honestly, in my opinion. I think it's another NPC cheat where you will never be able to outturn an NPC in Super Cruise, no matter what ship they are. They could be in a Corvette, and you're still not going to get behind them if they don't want you to. But that being said, this guy actually wants to interdict me, and we're actually going to let him because that's easy money. So what you can do is we see he's ahead of us. What we can do is just invert our pitch with him so that he gets behind us on the radar. You can see he's on top of the radar. He's below us now. You can see on the left there, he's turning around, and now he's even with us, and he's behind us. I'm trying to yaw a bit to show him my tail, and he should actually get me here pretty quick. Come on, Papa. You want it. There you go. Alright, I'm actually going to just submit because honestly we're here to kill him. We're not here to run from him. We don't care. He's got two guys. The Fair Lance is the primary, and what I tend to recommend is that whenever dealing with a group of two or more, what you want to do is make sure you take down the wingman first, because the wingmen are easier to kill, but they also add DPS that you couldn't otherwise kill. So I'm going to go after this Mark III first. And I've put my shields up. I'm cutting my engines because I don't need that much mobility. And I'm going to use my overkill plasmas to take him down. Whew, a little bit of a miss there. And finish him off with the lasers just cuz. And there he goes. The Fair Lance, I'm probably going to try targeting the power plant for the sake of it. Typically I don't bother with power plant marking for anything smaller in mass than an Asp Explorer. Any Fed dropship, Fed assault ship, Fed gunship are definitely higher mass, so I definitely target their power plants. Same with Type 9, of course Python, of course Anaconda. All those ships I tend to target their power plant to try and even the score a bit faster. This guy's pretty nimble. He just did a boost. He's trying to angle away. We're gonna give him a bit of love there. Try and eat his shield so our plasmas can do work. Plasmas are a little rewarding in that what they'll do is, and I'm shifting full weapons and no shields because I actually don't need my shields because he can't get around me because of my position on him. The plasmas are interesting because they're high damage, high reward, but they're really hard to use because it's kind of hit or miss. They are weapons of opportunity where you get a nice open shot where he's not really moving and you go after him. They're not often well paired solo. You can see just 3 shots total miss, but then you can follow it up pretty quick. And they're also immune to chaff, so this guy's doing what he can. He's probably going to boost here soon, so we're going to try and take him down. In here I'm taking heat damage. That's another qualm with the plasmas on a fast because it is a heat brick. And we're just going to try and get in close. And again, I'm no expert. I just love to use it because it gives me that sense that I have to work for it. Multi-cannons and lasers work great for this kind of work. They tend to be easier to hit. But they are susceptible to chaff occasionally. And there he goes. And we'll immediately go back to Super Cruise. There's no point waiting around. I'm going to change my pips to try and get some of my shields back. Weapons fully charged. We're good to go for now. So it's great. You killed your first target. You can take a look at where you're at, how far away you are. We're pretty much in the middle of nowhere. The benefit of being in the middle of nowhere within 1,000 light seconds of either spawn is you'll get spawns pretty quick. You can see we already have an Anaconda, Utopian Overseer Elite. Maybe he's in a wing. Oh, he's in a wing. Money right there. That's 90 merits. I was going to start doing another little tidbit about what you can do to better scan. That really helps with wings. But we'll see what we can do here quickly with the Anaconda. Namely, what you don't want to do is you don't want to stay in a linear path between one point and another, because then you have to keep doing 180s. So what you can do is you can actually go vertical to get a better angle on things, and now you don't have to do a full 180 turn. You can actually do less of a 180 to scan both places. That really actually helps in terms of the speed of scanning new hostile ships. So we're going to go in behind this Overseer. We're going to kind of go to the left and try and hook in around him, get right behind him. You can see my interdictor is already good. In my mind, it's actually a function of my speed and the distance. You can see I'm going about 7. He's going 89. With a 4.8, I think it's about a 20 multiplier. So right now he would need to get past 300 light seconds to escape me, and that's not happening. So let's just put him out of his misery. With a 2A, it's more like 15 to 18, and you just have to get a feel for it there. But it is a multiplier of your speed and their distance. So if you're approaching a sun quickly and they are moving with their tail towards you, you can actually catch them from a long ways off if you want. The other benefit is when you do that, you actually get an extra speed boost because the game doesn't actually keep you the same speed. It warps you right to them. And we're just going to go engage, drop some chaff. I'm keeping my systems high because I'm waiting for his buddies here. So there they are, 2 Diamondback Scuds. So this is actually going to be a bit of a fight. I'm probably going to take some damage on this one. I'm just going to spam chaff and try and do this as well as I can here. I don't need much engines, so I'm going to go mainly weapon, even it out between weapons and sys. And we're going to try and get these escorts down as fast as we can. I gotta go full weapons, 2 sys. These plasmas are just draining on me. Waiting for that chaff to reload. Oh, overshot. Alright, my shields are going down. I'm going back to engines, and I'm going to start doing a little silent running. Ooh! Anaconda just nailed me with a ram. So this could be pretty gnarly here. I have to do a lot of toggling of flight assist, so I'm going to try and take one of these guys down. At least get my 30 credits, but that hurt. Especially since he's got missiles and frags, that's going to be a little tough. Almost got the one. 54. Try some silent running. See if I can finish this guy off. There he goes. I'm going to try chafing a bit. I can outrun the Anaconda for sure. And we're going to go ahead and get all sys to split between engines and shields. And yeah, that was a bit of a hairy mode there. Let's not overheat ourselves. We got plenty of distance now. Yeah, I can keep shooting missiles. Alright, well, this is going to be tough. I'm going to actually try and take these guys on. No, they're running away, so I'm going to get back in the fight. They kind of kicked my butt a bit, so we're going to see what we can do here. Let's see if we can finish him off. Get a little mobility. The Anaconda's gone. This guy's probably... yeah, there he goes. Alright. Well, we survived. We survived an Anaconda ram with no shields. That's not too bad. So, get our shields back, and let's get out hunting. Only reason I'm hunting is I quite honestly don't like video editing, so I'm going to try and keep going. I'll show you what I mean by actually going vertical in terms of scan resolution. That actually really helps when in a wing, because each of you can start scanning multiple targets. When in a wing, the benefit of a wing over a single person going out there is you can split targets. So the biggest cost you have is actually interdicting targets, especially interdicting wings. So what I'm doing here is I'm not even going above them. I'm going evenly away from each target. I'm going to get some speed. The other benefit here is you can see I'm already 30 Cs, so I will actually accelerate far quicker away from an actual gravitational body, which really helps. And then we just start scanning. Sometimes you get a quick one, nice little Type 6, that's an easy one. If you have a few targets and you don't mind scanning around, you can see how easy it is now for me to actually scan multiple ones. You can see Cherish Cheerful, he's not going to be an interest. There's some talk of named NPCs being part of large powers. I have yet to see it. I'm not counting on it. I'm just going to take a moment, see if there's another wing. You pretty much either want the weakest target you can find. So there's the Asp Explorer, which is pretty thick hold beast, and Type 6. I'd probably go for the Type 6, but we have a couple more here. In terms of undermining and optimizing it, you pretty much want to go after whatever larger wing you can find, or the easiest target. Here there's two. There's an Asp Explorer. He's probably got a smaller wingman. You'll kind of get a feel for that. You always want to interdict the larger of the 2 or 3, and that tends to pull the other one out. So you can see we're already 30 C. We're going nice and fast. He's 600 light seconds away. I'm keeping him in the corner of my eye so that I have enough room to do a turn. So I'm using my wide screen to make sure that I can get that. Use a bit of the diagonal to keep an eye on him. I'm going 21. I know my range is about 20 times that or 15 times that, so I'm going to be pretty close. You can check the numbers as I come into range here. 18, I'm already in range, and I'm behind him. So let's go at it. Moving my throttle down to halfway. And there's a bit of glitchiness. That could be network, that could be who knows. It's interdictions, it's a magic science. And we're going to just keep trying to get him on the blue. Again, I'm not that good at interdictions, but I do just try and keep it blue. And you can see we're almost there. I do have 4 pips to assist, 2 engines. That's just my own black magic. And I'm going to go ahead and throw into weapons. Get the Asp Explorer. I really don't care about him. He can shoot me if he wants. He probably won't. I'm waiting for his buddy because he's not aggressive to me. He's not one of my enemy factions like the Feds are. So they tend not to shoot you immediately. And there's his friend. Oh, it's a Cobra Mark III. Yeah, you can go ahead and scan me, but... Oh, he's got a railgun. You can hear that based on the audio. You could also check him with the module scanner. Oh. Yeah, this Explorer is a bit nasty. I may have made the wrong call going after his buddy, but I'm going to stick with it. There we go. Goodbye, shields. Try a little flight assist bump there. That didn't work out too well. Oh, there goes my shields. I don't need any systems now. I'm going to be mix and matching with flight assist or silent running off. This could get nasty. I need to finish this wingman off pretty quick with only half hull. I heard a frame shift drive. That means his buddy's also going off. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to try and target his frame shift drive. And I'm going to go after him. I'm going to try and get close. Ah, he got away. Alright, well that's what you can do. As soon as you hear frame shift drive detected, that's pretty much endgame. But that being said, Pete and repeat. Dealing with wings definitely gets better with wingman, but for that I'd need a wingman, and right now I don't have one. So for solo undermining, that's about it. If you have any questions, feel free to leave comments. Definitely watch yourselves out there. Mitigate your risk, make sure you have rebuys. But that being said, nice little quickness, 150 power play right there. I think I started with 30, so that was 120 merits right there, all by myself. Stay safe. Take care.